Okie dokie. So Mama is back and she just really enjoying this because it uploads so fast you can just do all the videos you want. Anyway, I want to go further into the shadow people. And I'm sure a lot of you all have had your own encounters with these forces. Some people have not had such a great experience with these shadow people. Some people have reported having a very hellish-fied experience with the shadow people. My daughter, for one, did. Um, with her situation with the shadow people, she said they were holding her down. One was holding her down. And I always wonder, was it the same shadow man that dealt with me? I don't know. I'm wondering, does everyone have their own, only the people of this reality have their very own shadow person, you know? Do you have your very own shadow entity with you, or are all of them one? You know, that one that goes from place to place to place. I don't know. I don't know if it's a guardian angel that stays with you. It just depends on your reality. But the shadow person that came to me, he was he was just very curious. You know, I couldn't say that he was there to torment me. He didn't hurt me or do anything. He was just curious. He was just like observing me like I was this species that he had never encountered. So I don't know about those people who say, well, they were raped by the entity. Some say they were held down by the entity, just tormented by the entity. Mine were not like that. Just like people talk about the leprechaun. Oh, the leprechaun did this, the leprechaun did that. I'm very fond of the leprechauns because when I was at the lowest part of my life, at an all-time low, suffering from a bout of serious clinical depression. Okay, it was the leprechaun that came and uplifted me. And I know a lot of people say this is ridiculous. This is crazy. This is that. It's just only because these people have not seen a woman like me or someone like me talk about something like this because most of these people are church people and they associate with me, a person like me, I should be probably somewhere singing in a choir or ministering to somebody or talking about Jesus or whatever. I shouldn't be talking about these, but I'm talking about things that happened to me. I don't know what happened to y'all. You understand? But I know what happened to me. And I'm thankful for YouTube, Facebook, and all these other places so I can go and talk about it and find out that there's some other people that say, hey, look, I've had the same encounter. Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? It lets me know that I'm not the only person in the world who's experienced this. You understand? The leprechaun people are real. These people are real. I've heard some stories about, and I'm going to go back to shadow people about the leprechaun. So one man told me a leprechaun tried to kill his wife. He said he just happened to be coming in from outside and saw a leprechaun with a pillow over some lady's head, and he had to run it off. I talked about my friend in another video. He would always see the leprechaun, and the one that died, Clay, and he didn't have a good experience with the leprechauns either. He said that they would be at his bed, hitting him with sticks on his legs at the foot of his bed, hitting him on his foot and legs with sticks in a playful manner, I think, in a playful manner and stuff, but he didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? Some of them would have big sticks and then they would just be hitting him and laughing and stuff. And he said this one stuck out in his head that had a very bad odor and had hair rollers in its head. I'm not laughing at his situation and I know it's real, but he said it had warts all over its face and a big old fat nose and it had on socks or some kind of stockings and his toenails were so long that they were sticking out of the socks. He had made holes in his socks and he had house shoes on. I said, it sounds like a female leprechaun. So yeah, it's a female leprechaun. But his experience with the leprechauns were not good. The experience I had with the leprechaun, I would never would forget. I was not hallucinating. I saw it for real. I lived in this house that had a fireplace. And yes, Mama had lived in a lot of houses. Mama just don't sit still, okay? Mama is a gypsy. I go from place to place to place. I get rested. But Mama's trying to settle down. But anyway, I was in this house that had this fireplace and this leprechaun. I was really, really, really down. This leprechaun. did a little flip, and I could see his head upside down, like it's hanging upside down in her place. And it came and it walked up to me, and I was shaking my head, I thought I was asleep, trying to wake the hell up. And it came to me, and it did something like this, back and forth with a smile on it. And it just touched me on my head, brushed me on my head, and it handed me something, and it smiled. And even though it did not talk to me, the just the vibrations from it, the body language was like, cheer up, it's going to be okay, it's going to be fine. As a matter of fact, what it looked like it gave me was a dead flower, but I guess that's just all it had. From then on, I had many encounters with the leprechauns, where they would be like, I would be driving. I would never would forget when I was coming up out this depression, and it was time for me to start back driving and everything, because I was in a serious car accident. Most people will find that you transition into something different after you have the car accident. So know that most of the time when you start offending, sometimes it's after a serious car accident or a car accident. But I had gotten, I was so bad off that I had stopped driving. I just would, after that car accident, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't driving, somebody else was driving, and a man hit us in the truck. But I wouldn't drive anymore because I was just afraid, you know. But it came time when I was getting better, I had to start back driving because I had to drive my children to school and do things. It was on me. I had to come up out of it. And seriously, y'all, I was having heart palpitation and everything. I did not want to drive. Seriously, y'all. Y'all would not believe who brought me out of it, who was there with me when I began to start back driving, because I felt so alone when I would be driving to go and get my kids, go to the store, and do my things and everything. It was actually the leprechauns, once again. And I know folks saying, this lady is out of her mind. This is only for people, understand, who want this. It's not for you, okay? Believe. This is very personal. Because you're going to have your moment, and yours might be worse. I'm talking to these mean adversaries. So it was actually leprechauns that were in my van with me, traveling with me, that were encouraging me to go forward. And I also had a cat. Oh, God rest his soul. His name was Mr. Pie. And I get teary when I think about it, because I'm telling you, if there was ever a being that had mad love for me, you understand, besides my family, it was that white cat. I had a white cat which was my familiar, and I know he's still with me. His name was Mr. Pie. And y'all don't know something special about that cat, because I was having them little attacks and stuff sometimes. My heart just gets to racing and fluttering and stuff like that. When it was time for me to get back out there and interact in the world, that cat had my back, y'all. There was something special about that cat. And when it looked at me like, you know, I'm down for you, you down for me. We here for each other. Because I remember one time I had this attack where my heart just fluttered. I just had this fluttering in my heart. I was going to have a heart attack. I thought my heart was going to stop beating. This is when I was going through this ascension, y'all. I'm telling you, ascension is not breezy and it ain't easy. Okay, it's pretty rough. Just like growing pains. And there was nobody at the house in my door. And I didn't want her to know that I was, no, it was my son there. He was young. And I didn't want him to see me having a panic attack, because I didn't want him to flip out. Anyway, I rushed out the house. I felt that flutter, and my cat was sitting beside me. Oh, no, no, my cat was not sitting beside me. My cat was somewhere in the house. I don't know where my cat was, but I ran outside, Mr. Pie. I ran outside. I opened the door, and I ran out. He dashed out behind me. And I sat down and I said, oh, and I talked to God. I said, God, I said, I'm alone. I'm alone having this little fluttering attack by myself. I'm not going to die. I'm going to die alone. And I would just remember that. And I remember hearing the Spirit say, you're never, ever alone. And I was out on the steps in the dark, looking up at the stars like that. And I looked around and I felt something rubbing up against me. And it was my cat. And my cat looked at me and he showed me his teeth and he said, meow. And he walked around me, I promise y'all, over and over and over and over again, to scrub his back and soothe me back into good health. My Mr. Pie, wherever you at, where your spirit at, we're gonna see each other again, okay? I had mama back. And I realized then that, you know what I'm saying, that anything can be there for you. It could be a cat, a dog. You're never lonely. It could be a rat or cricket or praying mantis. I mean, anything, family. And that's when I just opened my eyes up to all possibilities of magic, the supernatural, spirit beings, and everything started coming to me from there. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that, and I kind of like got sidetracked, forgot what I was talking about. Um, um, but I wanted to talk to you all about the shadow beings. I got a little bit of more time left, you know. Love you, Mr. Pie. Um, let me go back to when we talked about the Abraham Lincoln guy. I saw the Abraham Lincoln guy crossing the street one time. It was one of the shadow people. It was in the dark. I was driving back home from Georgia, or maybe New Orleans or something, maybe Louisiana. I was driving back home, and I was on the street where I was going to get ready to make the left turn, and the right turn, and I would have been at home. And up in the distance a little bit, I looked, and there was this dark boy, and I noticed he had a tall hat on, like Abraham Lincoln. That's why I call the Abraham Lincoln man. He had an undertaker's coat on. He was walking across the street, and he had a familiar with him, some type of animal or something. But both of them were like a black, dark boy as it crossed the street. And every time I see him, he comes and he warns of the ultimate DEATH. He always telling me, oh, it's time for that. In Voodoo, or Voodoo, they call him Baron Semeidi. Yeah. So I've had many encounters with this particular um, deity or Risha or Loa, whoever you want to call him. A lot of us in America who may have not been brought up in the eyes of voodoo would call him just a plain old ghost or a demon or an entity or whatever. But these are tied into your ancestors and stuff. So just because you don't know who they are, do not mean they don't exist. They still are attached to you, and they're very much a part of your reality, especially in those ancestors who may have actually worshipped these deities. They are a part of us, whether you want to acknowledge them or not. They are there. I never will forget my aunt, the witchy aunt, my auntie died in Boston, and which is her sister, my aunt. She didn't want to tell me she died, and I didn't know she died. She, I just told her, I said, you know what? The Abraham Lincoln man came to me, the Undertaker man with the tall hat, he had a black suit on, like that. And she didn't want to tell me that this aunt died. So the very next day, she said, I can't fool you. She said, you know your aunt died because you saw the man, the man. And like I say, it's really bare and Yosemite when it comes the Giddy. I'm trying to think of other names it goes under and everything for that particular entity, but he's the one to death. But anyway, I'm going to end this one. Mama eyes both wide open because y'all know Mama under possession when she was doing this. Be back in a minute, okay? For y'all those who are scared, please. This is not the channel for you. Please leave, okay? Because I'm not trying to frighten you. I'm only talking to those who need this knowledge, okay? Be blessed and be loved, okay? Go to the light if you don't like being here with the reality of the harshness, which is what? Darkness that does exist, whether you want it to or not. Be back in a second.